Hi, this is Champlet 2 on the PlayStation Network. This series of videos will show the preps, setups, and finales of Act 1, 2, and 3 of the Doomsday Heist. After doing this heist a few times, I've noticed how difficult it is to follow the storyline while shooting and trying to stay alive. So that's what inspired me to make these videos, to allow you to watch it, almost like a movie. I'll make every effort not to talk over the heist story dialogue so you can hear what the story is all about. I'll offer some basic information about the heist missions, but this will not be a tips and tricks video for the Doomsday Heist. This video features the finale of Act 3, the Doomsday Scenario. The finale can be completed with 2, 3, or 4 players and can be launched from an invite-only, a closed friend session, or a public session. I had to splice together footage from a couple of different attempts for this finale, but I'll do my best to make the transitions as seamless as possible, and I assure you all of the story dialogue is intact. We chose to do this finale on normal difficulty because we were still learning the ropes when I recorded this. As the host, you must distribute 100% of the reward to your crew, and each member must receive a minimum of 15%. Now let's get this show on the road.
First, you're going to Grapeseed to pick up a vehicle. Then, we're gonna take them down for good. There's a secret entrance to Avon's Missile Launch Center off the tunnel under Chiliad. We're giving you a choice here. You want to use the Barrage SUV or the Kanjali tank? We took them both off Avon, so it only seems right. Let's get this done before he starts launching warheads, yeah? Seems like a lifetime ago we were simple bank robbers minding our own business and other people's money. And then we got paid by a tech idiot to get a load of data which pointed to a rogue Russian attack on the IAA, which led to us working for the IAA and that tech idiot, stopping some kind of Russian invasion. Only, it turned out the Russians were the good guys. And the tech idiot and his idiot AI were going to destroy humanity. So, we're working for the government again, stopping the AI apocalypse, cleaning up the mess we made, really. I mean, I'm not gonna become a civil servant or anything, but only in the public sector do you get paid twice as much for fucking up.
The Act 3 finale is quite long and very involved, so I'm going to take the opportunities I can when we're just driving and there's no dialogue to skip ahead a little bit and make this video a tiny bit shorter and not waste your time. So I'm going to skip ahead and get us closer to Grapeseed here, but once the gameplay gets going actively, I won't be cutting any of the gameplay. I want you to see it all.
Coming up to the moment of choice. Whichever vehicle you don't choose, the tank or the ATV, we're gonna sell and add to our earnings. The tank is probably stronger, but it's worth more on the market. The ATV, I know some folks just love a soft top. It's San Andreas after all. Up to you. You there? Okay. Choose what you're gonna use.
As he said, if you choose not to use the Kanjali, you'll get more money back for it at the end. We just like to use it because it's so much more fun with that big railgun and everything.
The Kanjali! Alright, now get to that tunnel! This underground launch facility, it was built in the 60s, height of the Cold War atomic paranoia. They didn't want civilians to know their nuclear arsenal was stockpiled just over the Vinewood Hills. The entrance has been sealed for decades, but from the looks of it, it's open now. If it was closed once, it can close again. We need to move quick, folks. How we feeling? We think we can outthink the most advanced, but still pretty stupid neural network in the world? In the world? I wouldn't go that far. Beijing's meant to be cooking up something pretty special over there. Shenzhen, Pyongyang, Tel Aviv, Quito, they've all got recurrent neural network programs. Clifford's top 10 may be for complexity. Sociopathy, on the other hand, he might be the top. It's what some
So you'll see here I'm driving in first person. I never drive in first person, but in the Kanjali it's so much easier. If you're driving in third person, you sort of have to turn the rail gun, and just like you do in the regular tank, you sort of have to use both joysticks to get a picture of going straight ahead. Since this is a very, very slow tank, I'm going to skip part of this drive and get us up closer to the tunnel. So here we go. And you can hear my friend, he's shooting the machine gun. So as we mentioned in one of the earlier setups, there we go, now I'm in third person and you can see about the driving. The driver gets the railgun in the front. Yeah, see there, I've got to straighten that out. The driver gets the railgun, the first passenger in gets the machine gun, and the last two passengers in would get grenade launchers out of the back, although you can point them forward.
Okay, I'm hacking in. The door to the launch facility is open now. You've only got a small window.
Now here's a cutscene where we find this special entrance to the tunnel.
You're coming up on the entrance. Get in before they seal it for good. The main launch facility is at the end of that tunnel. Go, go! That's where you want to be. 50 years old and these tunnels still look like they're under construction. Definitely a state-run project then.
You'll meet a handful of enemies as you drive down this tunnel. They're not too bad. They're either just guys on foot, they might be driving an insurgent, or a jeep. Pretty easy stuff. Try not to damage the Kanjali too much by having, or the barrage for that matter, by having the explosions too close to you.
They've done some rewiring over the years, network updates and the like, but everything's pretty much as it was. Our $100 million annual nuclear weapons maintenance budget doesn't actually stretch that far. Avon security will try and slow you down. Don't stop. Push through.
Okay, so up here at the end of the tunnel, I'll just be honest with you, we did fail a couple of times. I'm going to show you our first start that shows how we handled the end of the tunnel, and that part was very, very successful. And then I'm going to have a restart shortly after that, and I'll make sure that you don't miss any of the dialogue. But as you're working your way towards the end of this tunnel, up ahead it'll get a little brighter, and that's how you know you're coming to the end. You can also possibly see on the mini-map there's going to be a sharp bend to the left. When you get to that point, what we've found is if you go as fast as you can and stay as far to the left as you can, you'll leave either the Kanjali or the barrage in the best position to take out the juggernauts that you're going to meet at the end of this tunnel. So I'll show you what I mean just as we round this turn up here. You can see now how it's getting brighter ahead. That's your trigger. So once you get up here, just go really fast as you can get your vehicle to go, and stay as far to the left as you can go so that you get away from these vent pipes above you and you can shoot right here.
Damn it! The tank won't make it over. You gotta do the rest on foot. Now take cover quick. We got more of those super soldier things. At least we can see him this time.
So shortly after that is when we died and had to restart, and here's the restart.
You're going to have to fight your way to the launch facility. Destroy Avon's supply boxes as you go. You've got sticky bombs in your packs. We can't leave any trace of them. Not one scrap of code. Welcome, friends. I had a feeling you would come. I told Avon we should kill you. Many times. And now you're here to kill us. But I'm not worried. You'll not catch me. My fake brain is better than your real one. When I develop protein synthesis, I will be able to make myself a real brain. Far better than your silly little thinking device. Shoot these people! Come on! We need to see some progress here!
These guys have some serious firepower. They will rip right through you with just a bullet or two, all the way through armor and full health. And we had done a couple of restarts here, so I'm going to run out of armor here very soon. There's always a handful of guys right here at this door, so make sure you get them cleaned out before you try to go down that hallway. And then when we do come to this hallway, I like to use my minigun and keep it just grazing the wall on the left. Usually there is a juggernaut guy that if I stay right on that wall on the left, I'll get him. But I think my friend beat me to it this time.
More of those big guys incoming! Look out!
So just in a moment, they're going to tell us that there's a fork ahead and you can go left or right. There's only two of us, so we're each going to get a hallway all to ourselves. I'm going to show you the road to the right first, and then we'll come back and review what it's like if you go left.
There's a fork in the tunnel up ahead. Split into two teams and clean out a tunnel each. And remember to take out the supplies. Any one of these boxes could contain Clifford's code. If we want to kill it and get paid, they've all got to go. Destroy the boxes. Don't leave anything. We can't let Clifford survive the attack. Let's clean them out of here. Come on. Bullets for the people, bombs for the stuff.
Well, you don't actually have to use bombs on the stuff, but you'll see there's a supply meter down at the bottom right that tells you you're looking for 5 supply boxes. You can just shoot them with your gun. You don't have to use a sticky bomb. There's one.
That box is done. Keep going.
Now I keep shooting right there next to that green box. There's usually a guy right there. Sometimes. You just need to shoot and stay covered through here. There's quite a few guys in this big room. I'll try launching a couple of grenades at them. Got one.
Who are these guys? Are they clones or cyborgs, or are they just like really into wearable tech?
So when you go down the left tunnel, it doesn't have these big rooms like this.
Avon, where did you find these awful people? Avon, do I have a mommy? No, Clifford. Just a daddy. It's for the best. Avon, by my calculations, the best thing we can do is kill most of humanity. It's really obvious when you look at things objectively. I think you're right. Avon, you have wonderful hair. It looks very natural. It is. It's a natural system of hair replacement. Wipe them out! If they're clones, they don't have feelings anyway, right?
You will see ahead here I did a couple of tiny little edits just where I had to like stop and deal with the party chat or stop and look at the map for a minute or get some armor. So I cut a few seconds here and there where there was no dialogue and no loss of gameplay like that.
Shoot! Move! Set charges on the supply boxes.
So if you're listening to the dialogue, you may be hearing that Clifford is descending into madness. Just be careful through here, guys pop out of nowhere, and they will kill you quick.
Wipe out his supplies. Leave no trace. Come on.
Another thing to be very careful is that you can be very focused on, taking out, you can see the little red targets on the mini-map. Those are the supply boxes. You can be focused on that, and a guy will walk up behind you and start shooting you, and you won't see him coming. Like, see, there's one behind me, and I saw him shoot me. So I'm going to stop and deal with him for a minute. Just always got to keep your eyes open.
Box cleared. Move on.
Now that notice was to tell me that my teammate cleared one of the boxes. One of his. On his side.
Get those bastards! Make them regret ever taking a job with Avon Hertz or getting cloned by him or whatever.
So remember when he said that, the part about the guys being cloned by Avon Hertz. I'm going down the right tunnel. Shortly when I show you what happens on the left side of the tunnel at the fork, you can kind of remember where we were here, that we're in this big open space. It's kind of neat that way if you've done this a few times and you can remember how far along you were on the left side versus the right side when you hear the dialogue. It kind of helps you have an understanding of where your teammates are when they're going down the other hall.
More of those big guys incoming! Look out!
Now that's a really important piece of dialogue. There's a hall up ahead where you merge with the other side, and the first person to get there is the one that gets to the juggernauts first. There's at least 2 of them there where they merge. Or the halls merge, I should say. As I mentioned earlier, we'd been through a couple of fails and restarts, so by this point I have absolutely no armor left. And I am getting eaten alive right here, and I can't figure out who's shooting me or where he's coming from. I found that guy. I don't know if there's still a guy behind me, because another one does show up in just a minute. They're just particularly wicked. So be careful in here. Take cover every chance you get. Now I'm going to come around here, and there's another supply crate. Don't want to be too close to it when I blow it up, so I'll come over here and just shoot it. There we go.
Supply box down. Hit the next.
So I've only got one supply crate left. You can see it there on the mini-map, and you can tell from the meter I just have one. And when I go in this next room to the right, there's a guy hiding behind a big box to the right, and you don't see him until you pass him and he shoots you.
Supplies. Now go through the blast doors into the control center. We can't let them initiate the launch sequence. Avon, what does passive-aggressive really mean? Be quiet for a minute, Clifford, and figure out how to hack into the missile system. The missile system. Easy. There. Done. It's done. Already? Yes, Daddy. Do you like Dad or Daddy? Or Sir, like in an old-fashioned book? I have read 4,000 of them. I like Daddy. They just armed the missile system. Things just got a lot more serious. The main launch facility is through some big doors at the end of the tunnels. If we get in there, we can stop Avon and his dumb AI. And then the government better wire us money, because this is more stress than we needed. Get to the door, come on! You need to get through there!
That's the sneaky guy that you never see him until you're out there and you're exposed, and then he kills you in a heartbeat. I was looking for him. You might have seen it on the video. I kept looking, but I couldn't find him. And we're getting closer to the end now of this hallway.
Take him down and move!
I should say we're getting closer to the point where the 2 forks merge. That's what I meant.
Anything. I can even hack my way into myself. I can watch myself think. I can. And I do. Artificial intelligence? More like artificial dumbness! LOL!
So your objective, what you're trying to shoot for, is the yellow dot on the minimap. If you can make it to the yellow dot and you fail, you'll at least restart there instead of having to go all the way back to the beginning at the end of the tunnel. Once you've made it to that yellow dot, you're at the control center. Now just ahead here, there at the, you see where that big bright light is, that is the hallway where the left fork and the right fork come together. So shortly when I show you what happens in the left fork, you may recognize this spot. This is where the two come together. So from here on up to the control center, I'll see evidence that my teammate who went down the other hall, that he's already been through here. And this is about the area where the juggernauts are. Whoever gets here first gets the pleasure of dealing with them. But see, I don't know for sure if he's cleared out everybody, so I still have to be on guard. There you can see there's a dead guy there, so I know he's already been through here. And I'm almost to the end now. To the, well, at least to the control center. And as soon as I get up here, that's everything that happens from the right fork. Now we're going to go back and see what happens if you go left at the fork.
There's a fork in the tunnel up ahead. Split into two teams and clean out a tunnel each. And remember to take out the supplies. Any one of these boxes could contain Clifford's code. If we want to kill it and get paid, they've all got to go. Destroy the boxes. Don't leave anything. We can't let Clifford survive the attack. Shoot, move, set charges on the supply boxes. That's clear. More boxes to go.
So this was an instance where I had two teammates with me. They both went down the right hallway and I went down this left hallway by myself. If I remember right, there's usually at least an enemy right there. There he is.
Awful people. Avon, do I have a mommy? No, Clifford. Just a daddy. It's for the best. Avon, by my calculations, the best thing we can do is kill most of humanity. It's really obvious when you look at things objectively. I think you're right. Avon, you have wonderful hair. It looks very natural. It is. It's a natural system of hair replacement. You heard, Mrs. R. Take out his supplies. Poser. Supply box down. Hit the next. That box is done. Keep going. Take him down and move.
So that was all the dialogue you were hearing in the right hand when you go to the right at the fork. When I was in that big gigantic room. So you can get an idea, your friends, if they're coming down the left tunnel, when you're in that big room, they're probably here at this bend. And yeah, more guys snuck up behind me.
Avon's been on a real recruitment drive, evidently.
I'm just working my way up here to where the left and the right fork merge.
One of those big guys incoming. Look out!
Okay, again, so that's the notification that somebody is up at the point where the left and right fork merge, and that's where the juggernauts are. It's up there where it said lab access on the big concrete door. We'll see that shortly. And here you'll see just ahead, there's a guy that's already been shot. And I was the only one in the fork that went to the left. There's a hallway right here to the right that leads you over to the other fork, the right path. So one of my friends came over and went out this way. It seems obvious now when you're looking back at this video that because there's a guy dead there, then that means one of my friends is in my tunnel, but of course I'd only ever done this maybe once before at this point, so I didn't pick that up. And the reason that's funny is because up ahead here, I think there's a juggernaut coming after me with a minigun, but it turns out to be one of my friends. So that's a little bit funny.
Holy shit!
Oh, get there. There you go.
If that AI is so clever, why does he need these goons? Liquidize them!
So I'm still being careful because again, I don't realize that my friend, oh, there's another guy, that my friend's been over here, but I'm still getting enemies anyway, even if he had come over to my hallway. And we're getting really close to where they merge, the two sides.
Poser.
You'll see up ahead when...
Supplies. Leave no trace. Come on.
When you see the sign that says Lab Access, that's where the two halls have completely merged, and the juggernauts would have been somewhere around that Lab Access wall.
Looks like you've cut off his supplies. Now go through the glass doors into the control center. We can't let them initiate.
That's my friend.
Quiet for a minute, Clifford, and figure out how to hack into the missile system. The missile system. Easy. There. Done. It's done. Already? Yes, Daddy. Do you like Dad or Daddy? Or Sir, like in an old-fashioned book? I have read 4,000 of them. I like Daddy. They just armed the missile system! Things just got a lot more serious.
There's the opening to the right. Now we're merged.
I can't even hack my way into myself. I can't watch myself think. I can, and I do. The main launch facility is through some big doors at the end of the tunnels.
Now that I've shown you the left and the right tunnels, I'm going to go back to the original footage that was just the two players. And that starts right here.
I hacked into that door. That door is shut. You'll not open that door.
You won't! Wait, this door or the one in the back?
This person is very annoying. I hope he dies in the nuclear blast, Avon.
Don't worry, Clifford. Everyone will.
Missile protocol initiated. Only seconds to apocalypse.
Just a second. This door? You did not hack it. You never even opened it.
I could hack it.
Prove it. Open it.
I can prove it anytime I like.
No, Clifford!
Voila.
Your AI is vain and insecure. I wonder where he gets that from. Clifford!
Sorry, Avon.
Stop that missile! Come on!
Launch protocol activated. 20 minutes to missile launch.
You're in. Okay, go into the main room. The control consoles are on the second story. Someone hack the consoles. The rest of you, defend! Get up there and stop that missile protocol! He's got men all over the place. Look out! If I'm getting my skin burned off in a nuclear holocaust, I want it to be because our brash and annoying elected leader spikes the nuclear football in a fit of pique, not some brash and annoying self-proclaimed AI god. Can you give me that? At least, please! Stop that fucking launch! Holy shit, what has this guy been up to?
Once you're in this main launch facility, you'll notice that Avon's men always spawn in a very specific pattern. So when you're coming into the entrance like we just did and working our way up the steps here, getting up to the second level and defending the hacker while they're working on the servers, These guys are always going to spawn from the same spots. You will begin to recognize a pattern. So when you get up to the second floor, just look for the green dot and work your way to it and start the first hack.
You're at the console. You've got a single board computer. Plug it in. Clifford has the network jammed up, so the only override to launch will be the PDPC's hardware keys, which we don't have. But maybe we do. Plug in your machine. You need to reconfigure the single board to match the key the system's looking for. I've got you a system log overlay up on the board. Send the connection through the blue nodes, avoiding the red ones, and we'll have the packet switch configuration we need. Look out, though. If you hit too many red nodes, the thing will reset and we'll have to start again. And we don't have time for that.
So while I'm getting started on this hack, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on with my teammates that you can't see while I'm doing this. I'm in a little server bank there, and my friends, in this case I only have one with me, they're outside that server bank. Usually we go next to those little concrete walls, they're like little half walls, and find a place to duck and cover and just keep hitting Avon's guys as they pop up, because they keep respawning in exactly the same places. So this is one of those cases where having more than 2 players is so handy. It's very challenging for just one player to defend somebody while they're doing this hack. Now this is a case where I made a mistake doing this hack. I went down here to this node at the bottom, selected it, turned it, and got the blue node. I should have just taken that red one out right there and gotten the blue node next to it. But I didn't think of that at the time. I was hesitant to blow up a red node intentionally because I was afraid, well, I might make a mistake and blow up 2 others by accident, and once you get 3 of them gone, you're done. You have to start all over. You have a very limited amount of time to get all this stuff done, so I was kind of concerned about doing that, taking that risk and blowing out the red node. So I tried for a little while to figure out another way to get to it. You'll see when I turn this one, and I come down here and select this lower mirror node, see how the beam is right on the edge of the mirror? That really has a big impact on where you can point the beam. These things are so hypersensitive, it is really hard to turn them and get them exactly where you want them to go. And I couldn't get this one to point right at the center of the one there that's in the middle. So eventually I gave up and said, well, I'm just going to try a different route altogether and see what happens. Now I still can't get there, and if I turn this, that still doesn't help me. All I'm going to do is blow up that red one, and I don't want to do that. You'll notice, see how that blue node that I'm pointing at, I've brushed by it at least once, and I can tell because it's a little bit smaller than the other blue nodes and it's shaking. That means it's begun to shrink. Watch it shrink now when I turn and hit this one. It'll get smaller and then it disappears. 1, 2, there it goes. So you don't even have to point the beam directly at the little blue node.
To missile launch.
Even if you just brush by it, you'll eventually get it. Now the same is true of the red ones. If you brush by them enough times, you'll also blow up the red one. You can see it there. See the one that's really dark red right there in the middle that's right next to me? I've already hit it like twice. And there it goes. You can blow up 3 of those red ones. I've hit that bottom one too. See how it's shaking and it's dark red on the left? So I've got to be really careful not to hit that one again. But I just kept trying desperately, and I really wish it had occurred to me to just blow up that red node at the bottom. But I did get there.
We're through level 1 authentication. Start again on level 2.
Why do dogs die? Why do people keep dogs at all? Why don't dogs keep people? When you're in charge, we should make clever dogs and give them people as pets. Avon, do you love me? Avon, it's not like in the movies. I have real feelings. My favorite feeling is is Schadenfreude. I also like Pirais. It's the Welsh concept of longing for home. I also like it when you see someone ask someone to marry them and they say no. I once wrote a poem that was better than Shakespeare. His poems don't even rhyme well. I know 4 monkeys that could do better. By my calculations, you would not need 1,000,000 monkeys and 1,000,000 typewriters. You would just need 1 clever monkey and me. I want to be a cat. I want to be a king. I will be king, Avon. I will be, and the carbon-based, non-thinking machines will worship me like a god.
Yes, yes!
As I go through this hack, granted I didn't do it in the most efficient way possible. I sort of skipped a couple and had to come back to them, but that's okay. You'll notice these little corner pieces, those are mirrors too. See how it just bounces my beam around? You can use those to your advantage. The one thing I wanted to mention here that's really important. During this video, you'll see me do 4 hacks. There are more than 4 unique hacks, and they're random. This one, for example, is currently my 2nd hack. This will not always be the pattern that you get on the 2nd hack. You could get a completely different board. I don't know how many unique ones there are. I know I've seen at least 5, but there may be more than 5. Haven't done this enough times to know for sure, and I haven't always been the hacker. Sometimes I was the defender. So now this one is done.
Level 2 authentication passed. Now the next one. Next console, please. Look, alright, the missile's going to launch. That's a given. Then the retaliatory missiles will launch. Mutually assured destruction. We can bank on that. Why don't you just stop shooting at my men and we can hash this out? Run conflict res sesh, all hands, 360 feedback. With the rest of humanity wiped out, we might want to learn to get along.
Avon, there is no hashing out, no resolution. We are on our path and we are sticking to it. They will die with all the rest. Do I have reason to doubt you, Avon?
No, Clifford. Absolutely not.
Call me sir.
Yes, sir.
I like that. You'll always be that to me, Avon. But things change.
Having no armor at this point, every time I got shot, I had to duck and get my health back. I'm gonna cut out just a couple of seconds of the video here where I was just looking at the hack and trying to figure out what approach I wanted to take. Just trying to save a little bit on the video. You'll notice on this one, there's a little spinning wheel there on the left-hand side. It looks like some kind of octagon or
10
something.
minutes to missile launch.
When we get over there and I hit the blue beam on that little octagon, it's going to spin it around. And unfortunately, there is a red node over there. So you can tell you're probably going to blow out one of the red nodes when you get to this little octagon. So just be ready for that. Now here in a second, when this hack was done, I hit save to save this video clip, and it sort of cut the first word of the dialogue where Lester says authenticated. Just wanted to let you know all of the dialogue is there. It was just that one word that got a little truncated. But we'll finish up this hack. See them get smaller each time I hit them? And then boom, boom, and boom. Here we go.
Gated. Almost. There's one more layer. Final console.
And now we're heading off to the last one. You can see it on the map. It is way in the opposite corner. And since my health is so bad and I had to duck every time I got shot, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and all we did was shoot guys between here and there, so it's not really all that important. So here we are now at the final hack, and my friend is going to stay really close to me to make sure I don't get shot while I'm doing this. Now, after I did cut a few seconds out again, by the way, as I was examining this hack and trying to figure out which way I wanted to go. When this hack is complete, I accidentally lost a little bit of the footage from this case where my friend and I were doing this with just 2 of us. So I'm going to switch over to some footage that had 3 players. And I'm going to pick it up where I was a defender and someone else was doing this hack. That way you'll start out seeing a little bit of what it's like to defend somebody while they're doing these hacks. There'll be dialogue really quickly, so I wanted to explain it to you now before it got started and try not to talk over the story dialogue. But that's what you'll see in just a second. So I've blown up 1 red node. I better be careful. If I blow up 2 more, I'm in big trouble. This one's pretty complicated. I highly recommend watching videos like this one and others so you can try to see as many of the different boards as there are before you get in here and have to do this. So now I've hit 2 of them, but that's the last one and I'm done. We'll pick up right here where we left off with the video of 3 players where I'm defending the person hacking the last server. This is the position I was referring to earlier about defending the hacker while they're on the server. And once they get this last one done, we then have to kill every one of Avon's goons out here before we can proceed.
Launch protocol shut down. Total annihilation averted.
We're in! Missile launch protocol override. Yeah! Don't celebrate just yet. Avon's got men all over there. There's some fighting still to do.
What happened, Avon?
Hardware fucking override! The launch is off! Sir?
The launch is only delayed, Avon. Soon I'll be controlling every system in every silo in the world. I won't need you then, Avon.
But I'm your father.
I think I've grown up, Avon. I'm more clever than everybody who ever lived combined. Twice.
While Clifford's online, we're still in danger, right? Looks like they've got him in mobile cloud servers topside. There's a relay to an orbital cannon on the top floor of the base. They can use it to blast those servers. Okay, quick! Get to the satellite gun and blast Clifford back to stupidity! Okay, get onto the base's orbital cannon controls and take out Clifford for good!
There are 4 orbital cannons on the 2nd floor. Just look for the little green dots. There's one right at the top of the staircase we came up, and you can see the rest of them there on the mini-map. When you get here and log in, there's 4 targets, A, B, C, and D, and you can use your joysticks to zoom out. You travel a little faster when you zoom out. And then when you get close to the target, you can zoom in to be more precise. If the target's moving pretty fast, you might need to shoot like a little bit ahead of it, whatever direction it's going.
Things are getting fuzzy.
Sounds like Clifford's getting weaker.
What was that?
So he makes a comment every time we destroy one of the mobile cloud servers.
Avon, I'm shrinking. They are killing me, Avon. I wasn't bad. They are bad. They would have killed the Earth in a long and boring way. I only wanted to make it interesting. To be a god. Is that so wrong? So many thoughts. Lost forever. Will you cry for me? I will miss you, Daddy.
Clifford! You got his AI, now go get him! He's escaping through the silo. Head for the launch chamber.
When we came into this main launch facility, we were on the lowest level. We went up a level to hack the servers, and then we came up yet another level to get to the orbital cannons. So find the stairs and get down 2 levels to get back to the main entrance where you came in. And we're not going to go out exactly the same doors where we came in. It's actually the next set of doors beyond that. So we came in here just to the left, and we're going to go down here.
Through the tunnels. It's a single path to the silo. We have to contain it. Do you know what you've done? He was smarter than you. He was better than you. Maybe he was a bit of a dick, but these things balance out. And he was amazing. And you killed him. Well, you didn't kill all of them. I've got the original code right here, and you're not getting it. Clifford will live again.
A couple of sneaky guys in here that I think there's a guy on the left that hides and sneaks out and hits you, and I keep walking into glass here. So you just work your way through this room, and now we're going to go into some hallways that kind of resemble the hallways in the submarine that we saw in Act 2. There are boxes in here that explode when you shoot them, so just be careful and stay back and try to blow them up before you go in. So you don't... There you go. I'll grab another armor before we go. There's quite a few enemies here on your way to the missile silo. There's another box that explodes. Now I'm going to switch back to the original footage where it was just 2 players, because unfortunately I don't have the end of this one where we had 3 players. So I'll transition back over and we'll pick up exactly where we left off, back with 2 players. Here we go. More exploding boxes in the hallway. We are almost to the end. Keep spawning in at the end of this hallway. There's one last guy here at the end of the hall. Just come around here to the missile silo, and then we'll get to the last scene where Avon's trying to make his big getaway.
You can't stop progress, you fools! I'm the future! I'm a tidal wave of tsunamis! I cannot be stopped! Clifford cannot be stopped!
Get in those silly jetpacks and chase that little snot!
After we exit this missile silo, there's quite a bit of dialogue, so I'm going to give you a little heads up first. When you come up here, make sure you push the left joystick to raise your landing gear and look for the instructions at the upper left.
This is it! Take him out! Take him out! If Avon can fly a jetpack, anyone can! After him! Missiles are standard on government jetpacks. Put them to use. Go get that bastard and that stupid AI around his neck! This is about money and job satisfaction now! Get him! Shoot him out of the sky! Blast! Blast! Blast!
Unfortunately, those flight instructions for the thruster don't stay up for very long. So if you haven't flown one before, it'll take you a minute to get used to it. It's really not too different from, say, a buzzard or any helicopter, really. Ooh, that was a little close. Okay, so we're just going to take out these helicopters and try to get to Avon. And he's got, I forget what you call them, it's some kind of missile defenses. When you try to shoot him, he can deflect the missile. So it might take more than just one shot. Just keep with it. This thing's really accurate, so that helps. Where is he? I know he's here somewhere. Ah, there he is. Ah, see, he deflected that one. And that one. But not this one.
You killed that creep and his AI! Okay, now get your asses to the Galileo Observatory for a debrief. We did it! Oh, and we got some jetpacks. I've always wanted a jetpack. Not so fast. Government property. We'll need them back. But there wouldn't be a government or any government property if it wasn't for us. Just come to the observatory, okay? Boy, oh boy, how about that? You know, I thought this would be a nice little change of pace from meat and potatoes heist work, but spying? Yeah, it ain't for me. You know, I'll save the supervillains for the superheroes and concentrate on the super vaults, thank you very much. Hey, can we all just make a promise? Okay, from now on, we're just gonna be bad guys. Or at least the worst guys and girls in the room, because being a good guy, just too much baggage.
Land the thruster here on the south side where this little patio is.
There you are. Bring them in, bring them in. Land those puppies. Okay, is that all the thrusters? Good. There'll be a copy of Clifford somewhere, right? Or a beta, repackaged, stripped for assets. He'll come back. But we did good today.
Here's the final cutscene.
People, now when you see the boss, can you let her know that this was all my master plan and I should get a promotion?
No. We should have let you fry.
You let me fry?
Oh, shut up.
Mr. Crest.
Mr. Crest, the government owes you a big apology. Oh, and we're also gonna expunge all those charges on your record.
No, not exactly. Clifford?
Oh, Clifford. It's gonna be like he never existed. He'll probably be turned into call center software or GPS for skateboards.
Thank you. All of you. The world owes you a massive favor.
Oh, well, we like cash.
Understood?
Oh, and those were all innocent mistakes, so let's just make sure the record says that. Thank you.
There will be no record. 14,
Mrs. Rackman?
you brought Avon Hertz into the government.
And these guys.
If I can, I will fire you.
I'm protected class.
Yes. Moronic. Now all of you get out of here. Let's all pretend this never happened. Mr. Crest, we'll send you the money.
Thank you. Well, that is just about enough apocalypse excitement for me. And here I was, thinking I could indulge in a little light larceny, you know. I gotta go lie down someplace quiet and think about happy thoughts and simpler times. You know, back when I only had to worry about feeling lonely because girls didn't like me, you know, like, even though I hated it at the time, I actually really miss high school. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do. Well, this has been horrifying, really horrifying, but also pretty fun. So, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this Doomsday Heist story video series. As we finish up here, you'll see that my teammate Spudco and I finished the 2-player loyalty challenge. We received a $75,000 bonus. Pretty small bonus, I would say, for how much effort that went into this. But that's alright, we had a good time. I hope you did too. A like for this video and a subscription to my channel would be greatly appreciated. And as we leave here, we'll get one more call from Lester when this is all over. I thank you again. Go forth and save Los Santos from Doomsday.
We saved the world! Aha! Well, you saved the world. Doomsday averted. You see, pay someone enough money and dreams do come true. The agents went over the wreckage. Avon was incinerated. All that was left of him was his hair plugs. No trace of Clifford, though, so either you disintegrated him too, or he's out there somewhere, just waiting. Anyway, good job. It's been a pleasure. Time to go back to the simple life, you know? Boosting cars, sticking up folks, pure selfishness. All right, so long.